Okay, so the best way to explain this is through a real-world example. In many e-commerce sites, you can add vouchers. Now, these vouchers might give you money off in the forms of dollars or pounds off, or they might give you a percentage off, or they might give you a free product. There's lots of different permutations, but either way, even if you created 20 different permutations that you thought of, you can bet money that at some point your customer will come back and say they need another kind of voucher. So first of all, let's build a basic voucher system to get an idea of what we're really talking about. If you download the code from the previous lecture, you should now have this whole project here. If you haven't done so already, you'll need to go to the Package Manager console and run an update database. That's because the new project has some updated models. We've changed the way the basket works slightly, and we've added the actual voucher models themselves. So if we have a quick look, we now have a voucher and we have a voucher type, and what I've done is I've made them implement interfaces, and we'll come to that in a moment. So what we can do with our vouchers, we then need the data access layer. So again, we've created the repositories. So I've created a voucher repository, a voucher type repository. I've also created a basket voucher repository. Let me just go back to the models, because there's also a basket voucher. So what we have is the voucher is what you would define within the system of vouchers that you can use. A basket voucher is when a customer would type in a code and it applies it to their basket. So if we close those down, and then what we've also done is we have extended our basket service module, so that now we are taking in our additional repositories: vouchers repository, voucher types repository, basket vouchers repository. We're injecting them all in to the constructor, as we have done in the previous examples, and we've added a new method called add voucher. Now what the add voucher method does, it takes a voucher code, it takes a HTTP context. This is just so that we can go and get the basket as per the previous lectures. We then get the voucher based on the voucher code that a customer puts in when entering it on the basket, and we basically just do an if then else statement. So we say if it's a type of money off, then we call one procedure. If it's a type of percent off, then it's another procedure. And here are the two different procedures. So if it's a money off, we're going to check to make sure basket total is greater than the minimum spend, and similar with percent off. The only difference is with the money off, we're going to enter this value parameter, and with the percentage off, the value that's going to be entered is going to be as a percentage. So if for example it's 10%, we need to find out what 10% of the basket total is and apply it accordingly. Now you'll notice I've multiplied both of them by -1. That's simply to give us a negative value. So to see it in action, the first thing we need to do is, if we go to our admin pages, we've now got vouchers and voucher types. The first thing we need to do is go and create some voucher types. So as per our code, we don't worry about the module name for now, we'll come to that later. We need to create it as a type of money off. And we can create another one. So now we can go back to our admin page and we can now create vouchers. So what we can do here, we can just say create new, we can give it a voucher code, so we'll say £10 off, we tell it which voucher type it is, so we'll say it's money off, add a voucher description on, we'll give £10 off. The applies to product ID isn't necessarily, and we won't really use it now. The idea with that is that you can make money off or percentage off applied just to a particular product. Again, we're not actually going to implement that code yet, so that's not going to get used. The value is the value that we're going to remove from the basket, so we'll have £5, and we'll say that we need a minimum spend of £10. Multiple use again is so that you could create one-off vouchers or a rolling voucher that's always going on, and assign to means that you could create a voucher that only applies to a particular user on your system. Again, a lot of these are implemented, they're just there to give you examples of things that you can do. So we'll create that voucher, and there we have £10 off. So what's going to happen now is if I go in here, we add a product to the basket, there we go. We've now got this code where we can add our voucher. So if we type 10 off, what's going to happen when I click add voucher is it's going to go to our home controller, it's going to run the add basket voucher by passing in our code that we're typing 10 off, it's going to go to our basket service, run through the add voucher, it's going to find that it's a type, that the voucher type is a type of money off, and therefore it's going to call the money off procedure. And as you can see, now that voucher gets applied to the basket with a value of minus £5. Now this is all very well and good, but the problem is, as I said, it's all concretely built within the application itself. So if somebody wanted to add a different kind of voucher, such as a free product voucher or a money off a particular item voucher, it means we've got to create a new module in here, and we've got to create a new if statement up here. Now you might not think that's particularly difficult and onerous to do, but if you end up with lots and lots of vouchers, you can very quickly get in a bit of a muddle and a bit of a mess. Secondly, every time a new voucher type is added, it means you've got to recompile the entire project, and therefore you have to retest it, redeploy it, because you don't know what else might have got mucked up during the process. So what would be nice would be a way to extract this entire code out separately, that we can test independently, write independently, and just plug into our replication as and when we need. So if we go up to our modules folder here, you can see I've done just that. Now these are very basic library projects. All I've done is new project, I've created a class library, and we'll create a new one. Vouchers. It's handy to have a common naming space right up until you get to the type of voucher that you're implementing. So we will call this money off item. Okay, and we'll delete that class. And that's all these modules are. So what we've done with them is for each one we've got a class called the same name, eVoucher, and this eVoucher implements an iVoucher interface. Now all that interface defines is that we are going to have a method that returns void. It's going to be called process voucher, and it's going to take in an iVoucher of voucher, an iBasket of basket, and an iBasket voucher of basket voucher. So that tells us we have a common interface here that we can use, and provided the signature, i.e. the inputs and the outputs, look the same, any module you build that implements those will work fine. So all we have done is, from our basket service, we have taken our money off code, and we've implemented it in here, as you can see. So that is your modules built, and we're pretty much ready to go now to get rid of this code that does it all concretely and make it much more modular. And we'll go through how you actually call the modules that you've created in the next lesson.